Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the BSC Content Studio, official sponsors of YKTR and YKTR Sports and all the good things we're doing around here. Me and Caleb just shot a Stoozy video. I just seen Scope seen it. You guys, you love it?
Yeah, gun bro. And it's funny you mentioned BSC, Isaac. Just finished doing Kitty's Run Club this morning.
Low carb too, low carb.
I'd get in here and treat myself to a high protein, low carb, peanut caramel bar. So that's grouse, bro.
Shout out to the sponsors, BSC, best subs in the game right now. This is the Origin preview show, the YKTR Sports Show. Skipper Scope, what's been happening, bro?
No, not too much. Isolation got me people in the comments as well.
Getting on the feminine side.
Yeah, getting on the feminine side, sort of copied Simi in a way. Everyone knows Noosh, my missus Noosh. She was painting her nails on Sunday afternoon. I thought, you know what, treat me. So she did a nice little black number on me, and there could be some more out there COVID-y sort of things that I might do to the rig while out of boredom.
Like what?
I'm thinking about bleaching my hair, eh?
Are ya?
Yeah.
You'd actually suit it though, I reckon.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, blonde or like silver or
I
what?
think it's going to be like, she wants to bleach it like whitish grey. So we're going to play around with a few things while we're just sitting at home bored.
Is it safe to say she's the boss?
Big time.
Is she?
Yeah,
oh,
big
he
time.
owns it too.
Yeah,
I
she's
like
the
that.
boss,
I don't
yeah.
mind. Both of you, there's two of you in here, Jackson and you now.
Yeah.
It's a weird little dynamic between all the boys, eh? Like, it's a couple of the boys go full in on relationships. Probably me and Normie don't get too attached too hard.
Yeah.
Nice little dynamic.
Yeah. I like to. It's not worth the arguments.
This is just grown-up chat, eh? This is grown-up chat.
Just let her be the boss, and she is. So.
All right, so a bit of a dead rubber kind of feels like that. A lot of things going on in world sport, but we're just going to touch on the Queensland, New South Wales strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and X-factor. We'll start from the boys north of the border, Queensland. Where do you see their strengths?
Straight away, we've talked about it on previous shows. Love the addition and what KP can bring at the back, Kalyn, Ponga. And also, we've said it on other shows before, I love Benny Hunt at hooker. It would have been nice to see Harry Grant in the team as well, to really give Queensland, their best possible spine. But Benny Hunt's a nice replacement. Munster himself has spoken about, what he can create.
He's due a big game, isn't he?
Yeah. And obviously Munster and Cherry Evans, so... I know you're pretty excited about the spine as well.
Yeah, I'm pumped about the spine. Obviously, the way that they attacked last time wasn't the way that suited them the best, and I sort of got down here as a keynote. DCE was sort of playing how he plays at Manly, where he's out the back of forwards a lot, where he doesn't really have Jakey Trebojevic to do that. So I think the style of the play, and I do agree with you, I think this is the best spine that they've put out. I'm a big fan at Ben Hunt at number 9. He gets the forwards rolling. He's got a great run. He's got a great duck. He's actually a really good defender as well.
Yep.
And you never question his effort. But where I see them attacking is probably when Brimo comes on. So a lot of the times in that last game, and they had plenty of good ball opportunity, they just couldn't quite do it, but they're playing on very long percentages. And I know KP brings a different element to them as well, but I think they'll be playing off a 50 a lot more. And then they'll go Munster with KP at the back of him, and then Cherry Evans with Brimo at the back of him. Yep. So I see Brimo coming on, depending how Benny Hunt's lungs are, but I see him coming on as a ball-playing 13 / second fullback. And Brimo's had a really good 18 months. He was really special in the Origin last year. So I love the balance of it. DCE and Munster, very smart players as well. I think there's adjustments coming. You got JT on the coaching staff as well, who's one of the greatest to ever do it. I think there's going to be adjustments there in the way that they play. And it's all going to come down to execution. So, man, it's... And obviously with Nathan and Jerome out, I think it balances out a lot more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so
I think they're just with the series now dead rubber. Should be a nice fast pitch up at Gold Coast. I'm not too sure what the conditions are like up there, but generally it's a little bit warmer up there at Gold Coast as well. So I'm thinking the Queenslanders might chance their arm a little bit more in this game. Nothing to lose. Might as well throw the footy around a little bit. Like you said, you've stated that you've got potentially 2 fullbacks that are going to be playing, so it gives them plenty of options.
How does Munster get more ball? Because when you watch him play Melbourne, he's very like park himself on the left,
yep.
and that suits that Melbourne system. I kind of want to see him drift a little bit more.
Yeah, it would be nice to get him, like you talked about with Cherry, who's been playing out the back of the forward shape, if he gets more as a traditional 7. I talked about it in the first Origin. That's the way that they had some success in the first Origin last year.
Yep.
And they sort of, I'm not too sure, they haven't really had good go forward. You talk about halves all the time, like when it comes down to halves getting on the ball and being able to play up-tempo footy.
Oh, of course,
it's so reliant on the middles, man, and the middles haven't got the go forward, like... They've been so gassed because of all the defending that they've have to do because of how well New South Wales have been playing. Feels like they've always been on the back foot. Their carries haven't been as crisp, and therefore the boys haven't been able to get on the ball as much. So if they can lay a platform, I feel like...
Who's got to lead the way?
It's got to be Big Papa.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got to be Big Papa.
He's got the big Q in the side of his head on the mullet as well. So, man, if you're putting that on, you're up for a big game. You got to play. It's like when you wear shiny boots.
That's a good point.
You got to play good. You got to play good.
I thought that was photoshopped. Is that legit?
Is that photoshopped or?
Oh, is it? Because I thought Kempy put it on there saying that he should get this. Has he got it? All right, get it going, Jacko, as we're going. But
yeah,
I thought it was Photoshop.
I'm just throwing out statements here willy-nilly. So weaknesses, obviously coming off the back of 2 pretty decent losses. They got pumped in the first one. Man, like we sort of said a while ago, the 50 to 20 is a new 24-0 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Man, they didn't really look like a chance in the second one either. So where are their weaknesses now?
I think the losses of Jai Arrow and David Fafita through different suspensions really hurts them.
Who's the bigger loss out of them two in your eyes right now?
Fuck, at club level, we'd probably say David Fafita, but in terms of form and what he's put out at Origin level, it's probably Jai Arrow.
I agree.
But it just weakens their bench again for me. Like they started to get Josh Papali'i back. Christian Welsh played more minutes last game. Fodder Waker has been
good,
nice
bro.
for him.
Yeah.
But just when you lose 2 guys like that and they bring in potentially, I think it's Francis Moller, I think Thomas Flegler is going to make his debut.
Congratulations.
But, he hasn't been playing all that many minutes for Broncos as well. So as much as I think both those guys have got a lot of potential moving forward, just where they're at right now probably feels a little bit rushed.
Yeah, I was looking forward to Fafita off the bench as well. Like, in basketball, there's that sort of analogy, like they can get to where spots and shots. With Titans, he very much just plays, say Munster would drop him under and he kind of bullies people like that.
Yep.
In this sort of Origin arena, that sort of style of play isn't going to really work. So he's got to diversify the ways he gets ball. And sometimes the best way for him to get the ball is actually just running a decoy. Or best thing for his team is to run a decoy. Very similar like to T-Rex back in the day, where genetically gifted, strong, got all the skill sets in the world, but you can sort of find themselves like picking them times when they want to play.
Yep.
Where you look across the side where someone who's super talented as a Tommy Trbojevic, like he's always in the game.
Yeah.
Always in the game.
Yeah, that, like you said, that physical presence that he could normally bring to club level, just everyone across the board is so talented and strong and fit. So you can't really have that effect. So you're right. You almost got to change it up a little bit. He's a guy that normally likes to get early ball and then make his play. It might just be running, like you said, that tough line. Or like one of Rexy's best lines was just the drop play.
Agreed.
He very rarely liked running that outside inline for Fozzie, as we've talked about, Kieran Foran at Manly. He either wanted early ball or he liked that drop, because in that way he could hook it right around, identify the back row one-on-one and just fucking go over the top of him. Or if he got some help from the middle, he's got that option to skip and go back to the middle and then find a hooker or find a fullback in the line. That's how he identified the weakness that way.
The hard thing, and they've got enough talent to do it though, so say if he does skip across and then starts to dive in, it's sort of recognise what percentage you're at on the field and then run the play off the back of it. So if he goes too far back to the right post and he's a left back rower, if he punches through there and they try and throw shape back left, you got to drag one of your ruckies over to run the line for you. Yep. So that's kind of hard part about playing with those types of guys. But you've got Ches and Munster and Cape who are smart enough, maybe the plays to play on the up on the 4. So it's very hard. Yeah, weaknesses for me. Oh shit, almost dropped that. Weaknesses for me.
It is Photoshop.
It is Photoshop.
Yeah. Oh, Kempy got you, beauty. He reckons if he put it in, he'll go to like Carl Webb level. So that was the joke. So I wasn't 100%. But
I thought that was
I'm
legit,
glad we
bro.
clarified that before we got hammered in the YouTube comments.
They'll hammer us anyway. For me, weaknesses, they sort of just lack a bit of strike. And I think it seems more glaringly obvious when you look across to the New South Wales side and you've just got like To'o, Adokar, like Turbo, Latrell. Like, it seems so obvious. So I talked about DCE probably playing a little bit too much shape off the back of forwards. When you play off a lot of forwards, you need a lot of numbers. They need to be fresh. They need to give you a silky ball. Someone like New South Wales, they can just grab and zing it straight to the centre. You can't really do that. You can with Dane Gagai and what's his name? Hamiso,
the hammer. We'll call him the hammer.
On debut, but they're just getting locked up from two centres that are actually better than him right now and at the peak of their game. So the weakness for me is you just can't, you still have to throw shape, but not too much shape, where you can strip him and give him a chance, but you can't just go zing early ball to Gagai because Latrell's going to lock him up or Tommy's going to lock him up. So I feel like that's the biggest weakness, where the last game they played too much shape, but they still need to play enough shape to strip him on the outside. Yeah. But KP allows that pass. Yeah, KP don't throw it at intercepts.
The thing with KP coming out the back as well, he can do that quick tip on. He can do the quick catch, cut out ball. That creates a little bit of doubt in guys like, we've talked about it in Origin 2 previous. Felt like New South Wales had an overlap in defence and attack every time. And what I mean by that is like Latrell and Turbo were coming up and generally making the right calls every time because they could read, or they weren't threatened as much by Val Holmes coming out the back because they sort of knew you can sort of wedge it on Val. And although he can throw it at club level, Origin's a different level. And they probably weren't as worried about him going over the top. Where KP, man,
I don't reckon he had a look, bro, because like Latrell was up. He was in the line. He was just standing there. Yeah. Man, I don't reckon he had a proper look.
It would be interesting to see if Latrell still plays that aggressive style of defense against KP. And I'll be watching for early.
And if he is up in the line, KP's smart enough to do a kick as well. Yes. But the way I sort of see it playing out is when I see Munster coming back to the open side and linking up with Ches, vice versa, because that's why Munster gets more touches, and then KP can still hold that very wide four, and that's where he's at his best. Yep. Wide four, goosey, get to B, short, long, show and go. If the A comes off crooked, come off the left. See you later. Where do you see the opportunities for Queensland?
I didn't think. I think we got a little bit mixed up there. I thought opportunities is in for players in particular. So I'll just go with what I was going. It's Hamiso, the hammer from North Queensland. I think it's a great opportunity for him. Like we talked about in the preview show. I don't expect him to have an outstanding game. I feel like it's going to be a real tough day at the office. I wrote that in the blog. But just experience-wise, the opportunity to go up against Turbo or Latrell and, better for the run in the next couple of years. So I'm excited to see how he goes. Yeah,
he's got that upside in that open space, and obviously he carries the ball well, but a lot of Origin sort of built around tough carries, isn't it? He sort of reminds me of sort of a Justin O'Neill, where they've got blinding speed and they can sort of skip across and bounce, but, man, a lot of those tough carries are, like you look at your Turbos, tackle 2, Origin 1, running straight over the top of forwards. So the game sort of defensively, you're going to try and stop those boys. Yeah. And then
they're going to target him too.
Yeah, 100%.
Big time.
100%. And he's not the biggest dude, bro. So I reckon they're going to try and get up and under him and drive him back. So that first carry has got to be super important. And KP's not that big as well. So it's going to be really hard. Opportunities for me, I just see them attacking. I think their left side's their strong side with Munster. I think KP is going to be there as well. I just think that's just a better side to throw shape purely off the back of Munster. Yep. But Moses is rocking up on that right side as well. Playing for Parramatta, that side leaks so many points. Yep. And I know a lot of it's not him when he's got Wanga Blake and Blake Ferguson jamming in so fucking hard that he's just trying to clean up on it. But I see that's where the opportunity for me is. That's where I'd be going.
Yeah, I believe that they flipped Moses to the left edge this year to get him away from that edge.
Oh, okay.
I think because last year, predominantly he was on the right edge and they were having so much dramas. I reckon it was a really smart move. I haven't really delved into this, but I've thought about it before. But yeah, he sort of, for him to progress and take some pressure off him, not being a part of that right edge would have, done him a world of good. But he will be there on the weekend.
Of course he will, because Wyden's left.
Yep. So Wyden will play on the left. So it's handy when you've got a guy like Turbo outside of you, though.
Even last year, bro, they leak points down there, right? When you play Parramatta, you go to their right side because that's where they leak all their points. So I see that as an opportunity. I think Tommy, being a fullback, he's a vocal fullback as well, so he'll be talking that edge up. He's big, he can get in front of balls, he's got a great read on the play. Joey Johns always talks about rugby league IQ is not always about stripping people, it's about making reads on defense as well. So I think he tightens them up a little, but hopefully Munster can strip them apart, or KP can sing a ball past all of them.
The thing with Turbo's so physically gifted, he can make a bad mistake and back himself to cover it.
And that happened a couple of times.
That leads to a little bit of arrogance. Yeah. That leads to a little bit of arrogance. He did that. Munster went over the top of him, beat him, but Kurt Capewell just couldn't finish it off because, like we talked about, he's not an out-and-out centre. You do it against the Hammer from fucking North Queensland. If you put him in a bit of space from 50 out,
tough to bring back.
I think he might have. Will he have Xavier Coates? Who's the other wing? Val.
No, he'll have Val.
He'll have Val. So they'll have the Cowboys combination. I think them two can do some damage though in a bit of open play if they get a 2-on-1.
Val's an elite winger. Like, I know he gets thrown at fullback, but he's one of the better wingers out there on his day.
Yep.
Like, I remember a couple of years ago, he scored like 6 tries in World Cups and shit for a giggle. So he's still got that in him. He's a great Origin player as well, and I think he's better on the wing. X-factor.
KP.
Me too. I've gone KP as well.
Yeah.
I think he enjoys big moments. I think that one game back at Newcastle was enough for us to see. I think he's at that point now where, like, he's always been one of the most talented. Is he the most talented fullback? I'd go Tommy than him second. I think he looks a lot cooler the way he does shit.
It's hard to say talented against Turbo because of how physically strong plus Turbo can make all those passes. Sometimes Turbo just doesn't pass the ball because he's that fit and strong and can run over people, or just like he makes it look easy, whereas KP just makes it look silky. Like there's a different art to it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I agree.
And depending, it matters on their body shapes and whatnot. But KP is definitely in the conversation. And
right now, who's the top 5 fullbacks in the comp?
Oh, Turbo, Teddy straight away, Latrell, KP.
We've got a Reece Walsh at the back. I'd say Nico Hines is playing better than. And then you've got Pappenhausen, who's injured.
So
Pappenhausen's there. Yeah, one of the Melbourne fullbacks.
Whoever plays fullback for Melbourne is number 5.
KP Guffo. And we say this with the ultimate respect because we love KP. And he's my favourite player. But Guffo, Nico.
Man. Guffo's like...
And it's only because he's been injured. Like, you know what I mean? But maybe KP's sitting at home going, fuck, I'm sick of hearing about all these blokes. I'm sick of seeing my team getting pumped.
He's got a little...
Brimo. They were talking about Brimo or him. Like,
well, that's what I was about to say. They've got a little... in-camp rivalry between them two, friendly as they get along, they're fucking really good mates. But I know those two are going to be compared to each other a lot in this arena until potentially someone else rears its head. But at the moment, it seems to be KP and Brimo for the next couple of years. You know, like Jacko mentioned, Walshy.
Walshy's coming through as well.
He'll be thereabouts, but at the moment, it's KP and Brimo. So he's that rats, and he's that cool that he to me, just knowing him a little bit,
I think he'd enjoy this.
Yeah, and it wouldn't get to him like he's that blasé, a bit rats like Normie, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the sort of big moments wouldn't faze him too much.
Just use that sort of basketball analogy again. Like, he can create his own shots. Like if you look at a lot of fullbacks. Valentine Holmes, for example, he needs someone else to create for him to have his opportunity.
Yep.
I know he brings the ball back very well, but you look at Tedesco, like he can run off first receiver, he can run off second receiver, he can be out the back, he can be out the back of two shape as well. There's so many different ways he can get the ball and actually be effective. I think KP's got that same thing about him. Probably doesn't have the tackle break, the stop starty that Teddy has, but he can do a lot of things that Teddy can't. He probably can pass the ball 2 times, 3 times better than him. He's got better feet than him.
Yep.
So you try and get
got a nice little kick, like you mentioned.
Yeah, great kick. You try and get KP in the positions to touch the ball as many times as possible, but in many different looks. So he might get a wide 4. He might be at the back of Cherry. He might be at the back of Munster. He might get an offload off of Welsh or Papali'i, sorry. So I think you try and get KP as many touches as possible, but a lot of that is built off the back of wingers. Like, you know, when he catches the ball, offload to your winger, get him forward, save up his energy. He's going to have to take some tough carries every now and then, but man, you want to get him touching the ball as many times as possible.
Even that passing and linking at the back is like
important.
It's a skill. It's an important skill now these days, and he's got to conserve some energy. The difference between a nice crisp pass to get to Xavier Coates or Valentine Holmes can make the difference on whether that first play is a quick play the ball.
And wind that back 40 metres, how important is kick pressure?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you put a bit of kick pressure in. They can't pick where they kick. And Mitch Moses is still a really good kicker. Jack Whiten's still a really, really good kicker. So that kick pressure is really important. Gets KP catching on the fill, offload to Coates, get him rolling so he can look up, have a look, and rolling from there.
Yep.
Let's flip the script. New South Wales, man. Let's talk about the camp to start off with. We're big fans of Freddie, just a relaxed vibe. You got big personalities in there. Adokar, Latrell's front and centre of camera. Jerome and Brian Tall love it as well. How much that takes so much pressure off everyone else.
Yeah, they pride themselves in bringing the energy, those boys, and they haven't changed one bit, and it's nice. It's
refreshing, bro.
It's refreshing to see in such a high stakes contest.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause Origin means a lot to a lot of people in rugby league, and to see those guys still be themselves, like Josh Adokar pranking people while they're doing interviews. That's a giggle, like just little shit like that. Like
so childish, but it's funny as fuck.
Bro, like, does that remind you like some of the times that you miss when you're in camps with the boys and fucking around like that? So it's just cool to see that stuff.
Where's their strengths? Take your pick.
Still Turbo and Latrell.
Yeah, I
Turbo,
agree,
yeah.
bro.
Like you still got to stop them, man. Like it. We've talked about how nicely the Panthers halves have played in this, and they deserve a lot of credit. Nathan Jerome have been outstanding in the first 2 games, but man, it seems like it's tough to watch sometimes when you're trying to find a way for Queensland to get into the game, and Latrell might be quiet for about 10 or 15 minute period, and Turbo does something. Then Turbo was predominantly pretty quiet and still scored like 2 tries or something.
Yeah.
Scored 1 try and had 1 disallowed in Origin 2. So scary, man.
How long can form last for? Like
confidence, bro, too. Like,
and I read this down anyway. Like his bad games are most people's really good games anyway. Yeah. He's just at that level right now. Are they the best centre pairing ever in Origin? I think they're just going to.
It'll be a pretty cool blog to do after this series is done.
Who's challenged them? GI and Hodges.
GI and Hodges in their prime.
Mark Gasnier, Matt Cooper.
Nah, man, it wouldn't be anyone from New South Wales. It would have to be that gun Queensland period.
Yeah.
And it would have to be Justin Hodges and Greg Inglis in their prime when they were in the centres. Like that's the only thing that comes. We had Chico in here like a week ago debating it, and he's going, "Come on, man, come." Yeah. It's a legit conversation, bro. Like,
it is.
We're not saying that they're better. I probably am. I'm saying, out of the 4, give me Turbo over all 3 of them.
Tommy would play. Yeah. I don't know.
I'll probably
GI's there, bro.
I'll probably go Turbo, respectfully to all of them. They're all guns. It's like Turbo, GI, Latrell, and then Hodges.
Do you know what?
Hodges is 4th, bro, and I love Hodges. Hodges is
that mad gangly scoop from dummy half. He'd like
because he was one of my favourite players when I was younger growing up. Justin Hodges. So
I had those. Remember he played for the Roosters. Had those white Adidas boots on. I'm like, fuck, this guy's cool. Yeah, same for me. Like Tommy, obviously strength across the park, and like I've said earlier, the way that Joey and Freddie used to play back in the day, that's the way the game is now. It's not defense orientated. It's not wrestle orientated. It's not get to a point, play shape. It's, bro, the better your center is, the quicker you get them the ball. Yeah. Sort of rolls into my weaknesses as well. And this is like, the halves for me are their weakness, but they're still fucking strong as fuck. They're just not as strong as what they were.
Yeah, I just wrote combinations.
Yeah, combinations.
Combinations, it's like...
And you get Jack Whiten, who's a running first 5'8". Yeah. Latrell gets less touches. That's just like math.
Yeah.
He might get an offload off the back of it as well, but that's just the way Jack Whiten plays. Yeah. Latrell just gets less touches in my eyes. He might, instead of going from 15 touches, he might get 9. Still enough to do shit with, but that's a big one for me.
Yeah, you're right. I haven't even thought about that. We talked about in the first couple of games, Jerome Luai, his ability.
He played with Latrell perfectly.
Yeah, his ability to just give, like, not overplay his hand as a 6 is one of his biggest strengths, man.
And a talented 6 too. Like, he's got all the skill sets.
No, but he knows when to inject it. Like, he does it. He does it for the Panthers and he does it for New South Wales. He doesn't have to be the star. Like, it's not. You can tell he's win first, team first. Everyone at that Panthers system seems to have brought in to win first, team first over anything.
Ivan's big on that too.
Yeah, and you can see it shows, and that's why I believe Latrell was, the second best player in both games. Like he was unreal, the opportunities that he got. You're right. It's going to be a little bit different with Jack.
Yep.
And then there's going to be a little bit more pressure on and Mitch, and whether it flows as smoothly, because they played some pretty, like, yeah, they were physically better, but they chanced their arm a fair bit too, man. Like, they threw the footy around. They were willing to shift it. And just those combinations that you'd normally have with Jerome and Nath, and then the combinations that they built up with Jack White and Teddy got comfortable with them. It's like they all bought into the Penrith's system.
Yeah, I agree. But like Mitch has played with Tedesco as well. Like they've grown up playing together,
True.
so there's a natural combination there. I think Mitch is going to be eager. Like if you know him or watch him play, he's pretty up for it. Like he loves touching the ball. He loves being in and around the game. The way he sort of when he scores a try, he's about it. You know what I mean? He's up for it. So I think he's going to be really good. But like you said, everything just becomes like a little bit clunkier. Like Damien Cook's passing to Mitch Moses. They haven't really played together. Yeah. Then that's going to widen. I do like the balance of it as well. Mitch will be right. Big, strong right foot kick. Jack White is left. Big left foot kick as well. But like you said, like everything just becomes... Like the combination, the flow of it's not going to be there. Yeah. And then add pressure, add pissed off Queensland side, add excitement. You've been building this up for this most of your life. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of clunkiness. It won't flow as good, but...
Once they get rolling, do you think it's going to be flowing? I think it's going to be a little bit clunky to start off with.
They're both runners.
Yeah.
They're both runners, both got X-factor. Once they pass the line, defensive line, like Mitch can score on his own, but he's going to have fucking weapons in and around him. And wide and close to the line, you get Turbo trying to run over, you get wide and trying to run over you. Yeah. So you have to set your feet. So if you set your feet and he zings it to Latrell's got a genuine one-on-one.
The exciting thing about Mitchie as well is that normally when he plays at club level, respectfully to the rest of the team, they've got a really nice team at Parramatta, but he's sort of the guy that's supposed to create everything, where
him and Gutho,
runs, and even Gutho's more out the, like he'll be on the ball, but he generally plays out the back on that sweeping line, and he's got to control. He won't really have to do that this time. Might even be show and go himself, or just on the back, a quick play the balls and fucking ping him behind the arc.
This sounds counterintuitive, bro, but the higher you go up, the easier it gets. And like, it's hard to,
especially in this team,
it's hard to comprehend that, but like everyone around you is an absolute gun. So when you're a halfback or when you're a back row like you kind of just have to focus on your job. Like Scope, when he's at Manly and they were singing, he's not worried about what they're doing on their left side. You just go, I just need to focus on mine, and it makes your life a lot easier. And a lot of the times when you're playing in a lesser team with less talented people and you're a half, you start becoming like a traffic cop. You start worrying about everyone else, and you start to take away from your own game, which is his best thing is his run.
Yeah, I reckon, like I said, he's
nice everywhere else, but his best thing is his run.
Yeah.
Opportunities.
Opportunities, I think it's going to be for Uppy Coruscant coming off the bench. They've had Jack Whiten coming off the bench, and it's almost been like a luxury pick to have Jack Whiten on the bench. He's basically come on for about 5 or 10 minutes in both games just to sort of, Freddie's thrown him out there. They've got the game in hand, and they've just gone, why not? Fuck it, throw Jack Whiten out there. Yeah. Plays through the middle, just fucking gets his carries, defends well, a nice big strong boy. But with Uppy, you might get a chance to spell Cookie. Cookie's had a really good, low-key, had a really nice series as well.
He has, bro.
Haven't really talked about him too much, but he's had a really nice series. And this is a nice opportunity for Uppy to come on. You know, if he doesn't come on in the first half, in that 30 to 35-minute mark, to just give Cookie a spell, you probably see him at about the 60-minute mark, 55, 60-minute mark.
Cookie goes to 13. That's pretty exciting as well.
Yeah, if they both keep him on there, just see a flat and fast style of footy through the middle of the rack.
Very much like how Melbourne play with Cheese and Harry Grant when they're both playing. And I think Uppy Curacao will be able to give him like options to fucking score, especially with like he's a lot more diverse in around that hooking role. He's not as quick. He used his deception to get to his B play a little bit differently, but man, it's pretty to watch.
I think speaking of more opportunities too, I think it opens up for a few of the middles to be scoring a few tries in the back end of each half. So I'll be looking at a few prices for the
off the bench.
Maybe some bench players to come on with Uppy with a bit of a combination, depending on whether he gets on a 35 or 40. Cookie's obviously a really exciting player out of dummy half, but when he gets out, he runs for himself.
Yep.
And he creates opportunities that way, where Uppy's always looking to manipulate the ruck, trying to, look one way and make the markers bounce the other way. You've seen Penrith forwards that have been able to score a few meaties on the back of that.
My opportunity for them is a little bit different. Sweeping Queensland in all Queensland games.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this with Munster last year, where like no one will be able to do what Munster did because COVID
Yeah.
We didn't think COVID was going to drag out this long, where he went from GF to Bender to Origin fucking Folklore to Byron Bay, to Bender, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just that sequence, that lineup of games, the way that they were, that'll never happen again. I'm quite confident. I'm pretty sure, 80% sure this won't happen again.
Yeah.
3 games up in Queensland, smack them all every time, go to their house, go in their pantry, eat their food, kiss their missus, mow the lawn, pat the dog, and walk the fuck out. Imagine that, bro, getting swept in Queensland all 3 times.
That was pretty good first take, that, actually. Like you said, I dare say there would have been a bit more of a kick-up if it was 1-1. But because it's 2-0, I think Freddie will be enjoying it.
Yeah.
Being able to go up there and, potentially make it 3-0.
That time Freddie wasn't here one time, I was like, okay, what's it like coaching Origin? He goes, it's easy. I've got all the best players. I'm like, what about the games in the afternoon, end of the year? It'd be better. He goes, I don't care where we play as long as we win.
Yeah.
I was like, it's fair enough.
Great.
Can I play? Had to get the boots back out. Opportunities. X-factor.
My boy Latrell. Man, I've backed him every fucking Origin 1, Origin 2. Come on, baby.
You're punt free this.
Yeah, I am punt free. I'm still.
He's going to win, but he's going to win now.
I'm still going to chuck it on for the punters club though.
Okay.
Got some kitty for the punters club. So
where'd you find that loophole?
Well, I have been putting them on for not in the personal account. That's the personal account, staying away from it. But man, if fucking Latrell won, who've got it, and I didn't have any money on it in some way, I'd be filthy. So Latrell, the X-factor, he's been unreal. Games 1 and games 2. I reckon he's been pipped for man of the match in the last 15 minutes of both games.
If he scores a hat-trick, does he get man of the series or is
That's what, and man of the series. So I'm going to do a blog as well. I've got a blog coming up with Jacko. I've talked about my man of the series, Wally Lewis medal, man of the match, and I'm going to go first try scorer, anytime try scorer for a blog this afternoon.
Ooh, cool. Look forward to reading that. For me, I'm going Teddy again. He was kind of slept on. I think he's really taken onto the role as a captain really, really nicely. I think he gets excited about playing with childhood friend Mitch Moses as well.
Oh, yeah, good point.
And the opportunity to do the 3-peat up in Queensland. I think that's sort of motivation. The other thing I read, he's probably not going to play in too many bigger games this year. I don't see the Roosters maybe first round of final, second round max.
Yep.
I think he's a big game player. I think he's built for this. I think he likes the bright lights. I think he's all about that. This might be his last little. He might for the year, only for the year,
genuine game of the year. Yeah, probably agree.
He'll play more major semis. Who knows?
Yeah, Roosters are pretty banged up.
But yeah, I think he's just going, I need to have a mad little go. Plus, he's got pressure in around him. He's got Tommy Turbo chipping at his heels. I think he steps up. I think he's got the ability to touch the ball more than anyone else besides the half.
Well, I think he had something fucking crazy like 20 carries and 250 metres in the last
game.
And
like we said before, multiple ways to touch the ball, and it's still effective. So that's what sort of makes him so great. So score predictions?
33-32.
Who's got the droppy?
To Latrell.
Just deep ass. So what? 33-32?
33-32 to New South Wales.
That's a high-scoring game.
Yeah, fucking oath. Let's see some tries. There's going to be some fucking
I'm going 26-16, New South Wales. I'm going Adakar first try scorer. I think Mitch Moses touches the ball a bit more. Combination with Teddy out the back and long ball. I just see that happening.
Yep. Groundhog Day from first game.
Yeah,
second
pretty
game,
much.
Game
Yeah,
two, game
that's the first thing I thought of, and they were so stripped back out there.
It looked pretty generic too, the way they did it. Like
the training run.
Yeah.
First try scorer, or are you saving it for the blog?
First try scorer. No, I'll save it for the blog.
All right.
Come YKTR Mag. Come see me in the YKTR Mag.
That's where you do your best work, eh?
Baby.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate you all.